This weekend I have the rare opportunity to have both my brother and my dad in the same place at the same time. So I thought I'd give you a taste of the mission field from their perspective. Yes, they are both preachers, but we'll forego the offering on this occasion. Welcome to my house, Alan and Dad. Alright, hey, I got a couple of questions for you guys, by the way. Thanks for coming. Raising children is hard in any situation. What advice or words of wisdom would you give to my readers regarding rearing well-adjusted kids, either in a foreign land or here in the United States?
I'll defer to the mzee, or older gentleman in Swahili. He will begin, and we'll see what he's got to say.
I think it'd be easier to do in Swahili. Then no one could understand what I said, because nothing harder to do than to tell somebody how to raise kids, especially when you recognize you don't really know how yourself, and you're just so thankful as you go through things and do the best you can with them and through them to find out that the Lord blesses, and in the end most of the things turn out to be very well, and children do pretty well at being adjusted if you work at it. Now you have to remember that they do have feelings, and their understanding is not the same as yours. So the more you take time to learn how they feel and the way they think and what they think about it, and then why, I guess, it's going to help in raising them.
Well, Andrea and I had the privilege of raising our children in Port Elizabeth, South Africa, as missionary kids, or MKs. And I can tell you this, that we went over there maybe with some answers and ideas, but as time has gone on, we've realized it's really the grace of God that's helped us raise children that have been a blessing to us. And I think a lot of that is a credit to the parents that we both had and have. We've leaned heavily on advice from both sets of our parents when it came to discussing how to discipline our children and what to do in regards to certain situations that come up in their life. And I think one thing that many missionary families have made the mistake of doing is making their ministry more important than their family. And we've always tried to make our family a priority, that feel like our model of how we raise our children is one of the most important, if not the most important, platform that we have for our ministry. So we've just tried to do the very best we know how. It's all we can do. We've made mistakes. We think it's important to say we're sorry when we've made a mistake, and we also try to reinforce good, positive behavior by letting our kids know we love them. We try to tell them we love them every day. And I think that's just do the basics day in and day out. That's very simple, but it's not brain surgery, I guess, raising children. It's more difficult than that, because it's something you have to do every day, 24 hours a day.
Relate a specific story, like the one above in the blog, where what appeared to be a small gift turned out to be a godsend.
Well, most anything you get from home is going to be a real blessing to you, because it's just hard to even imagine the difficulty you have in finding things for whatever need you may have, especially in buying for children. Now, I had it easier than Alan has, because I had two boys to buy for and get boys things when we would go to town and when we would plan ahead. And of course he had boys and girls both, so his was double there. But we have had things that came that we did not know, well, they were just nice as could be, but we didn't know how we were going to be able to use them other than just right in our house. But we have had some that came like that, and in sharing them, and even one of them, we had a platter that some cheese and things came on. The pictures that were on it and what it had to say were something that we could use in some of the women's church services especially.
I think you posed a good question here. I'll say this first and foremost. that we recognize every good and perfect gift the Bible says comes from above, and it comes from people's hearts, and we've never looked at the size of a gift as being indicative of the value of a gift. And we recognize that people are just giving as unto the Lord, and they love us, but they love the Lord, and that's why they've been, it's been on their heart to support what we may be doing through the cooperative program, through the Lottie Moon Christmas offering, and then we've had people send us personal gifts, and we've been grateful for those, but we still realize we need to spend every cent we have in a way that honors Christ. I have to say this, though, there are more than one or two funny stories about some of the gifts that we received. I remember the first time we went to the post office in Port Elizabeth, and someone had sent us a large package of food, not requested, but we were glad to receive it. We didn't have any idea what was in it, and the box was just shaking and rattling, and the post guy picked it up, and I mean macaroni noodles went all over that post office. And I kind of giggled a little, and he looked at me and he said, "You know, it's not nice when your macaroni is on the floor." But I said, "Well," I said, I don't think that's funny. I said, "I'm sorry, and I'll help you pick it up." He said, "No, don't worry." And he was going to charge me a bunch for it, and then he just, finally we started both laughing together. And then I remember one time somebody from M&M, we told him we sometimes miss some M&M candy. Somebody at Cleveland, M&M Mars, just sent us like 1,000 bags of M&Ms. They're like, "Well, what are we supposed to?" We were grateful for that, but I have to tell you that the guy looked at me and said, "That's going to be about 600 rand for you to get this out of customs." I said, "Well, I hope you enjoy M&Ms." And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I didn't ask for these, so I'm not going to pay for them." He said, "Oh, well, just take them." So it's amazing how the Lord works that kind of stuff out. One of our volunteer teams, you'd be amazed how God has used volunteers in our ministry, and one of the things that's been huge is one of our first teams sent all of Powell High School's old basketball tracksuits and basketball uniforms and shooting tops with the team. And to this day, 10 years later, Powell uniforms are all over Port Elizabeth, and we told them that Powell stands for Praise Our Wonderful, Everlasting, Loving Lord. So they know Powell is a place, but they also think that's what the acronym is. And so anyway, it's funny to see that. And then everybody in Port Elizabeth, because of people's grace when they come over on volunteer teams, we really can't handle large containers and stuff like that. When people bring teams over, they'll bring trunks, and so Tennessee shirts and stuff, so everybody there knows what Tennessee is. We love Tennessee. We like Tennessee, they say. That's what they call Tennessee. So anyhow, we just appreciate God's grace in people's lives.